Today, I'm sitting down with one of my students who's built a 7-figure brand on Amazon. We're going to dive deep into how he scaled his business, what strategies he used, and what lessons he learned along the way. This one's packed with value, so let's get into it. What's going on, Joshua? I appreciate you taking the time to do this interview. Like I mentioned in the intro, Joshua has built a really great brand on Amazon, and I think that he has a lot of insights on e-commerce and Amazon. So I wanted to sit down and talk to him. So, like I said, bro, I appreciate you taking the time.
Of course, man. Of course.
Sweet. So let's get into this. So before building a 7-figure brand, what were you doing before?
Actually, interesting enough, I was in corporate retail doing product development, working from sourcing to marketing, packaging. So kind of already set myself up. And then once I had my product, my first product, it was just a natural um, move over to e-commerce.
Nice. So when did you start e-commerce, and then what inspired you to start? Was it your background and your history that you had before that?
A little bit. So I had pretty much invented my own product based off of a specific material. Um, it came just from knowing that there's a huge market and opportunity online to sell things. So it was just a natural development and growth in the business. Of course, I was selling them at marketplaces, in stores, things that, small stores, but online was just the natural next step. And Amazon, wa being the biggest marketplace, was the first step. So it's just a natural progression in the brand.
Nice. And then what year did you start this journey?
I started Amazon around 2017.
Nice. Now, did you start with one product or did you launch multiple early on?
Great question. So I really started with a smaller product. Um, Interesting enough is I learned the market wasn't as large for that product, so I kind of pivoted, took that same concept and applied it to a different product. And really, my big thing was the market. How big was the market? So I learned early on, trying to sell this first product, that my market wasn't very big. And that was, I mean, that's hard as it is to sell to a group that's not very big. But then moving over, it was just learning to understand and see the opportunity. It wasn't scalable. So I call it a fail. I don't think it really failed, but I call it a fail because I didn't wasn't scalable. I think really my second product, that was my focus, was, is this scalable? Is this something that can sell to mass amount of people? That was my criteria.
Nice. And I love what you said there, like that you didn't even consider it a failed product, but you pivoted. And I think that a lot of people get married to or emotional or married to the first product that they launch, and they just keep going, and they don't understand that in e-commerce, like sometimes you do have to pivot. It doesn't necessarily mean that the original idea was bad, but maybe you have to improve upon that or just change directions a little bit. And I think that's what helps somebody become successful in both e-commerce and in Amazon.
Right. Absolutely.
hmm So, how long did it take for you to hit your first big milestone, whether that was 10K or 100K a month?
I would say it was a good couple years. I was learning a lot about reordering, just getting the marketing right, PPC, learning PPC. I would say it was a good 2.5 years before I hit my first six-figure month, and it was amazing. But yeah, it was a lot of changes in mindset and understanding that it's a system and not a skill that I'm working on. So
Mm-hmm. There wasn't even that much as much information back then when you started. Like there was still some information out there, but like
it wasn't like it is today, 2025 or maybe 2026 when somebody is watching this. And so a lot of that was probably like developing the business mindset, understanding the business and all of those concepts, I'd assume, right?
Yeah, yeah, there was not the resources we have today at all.
And to build something big, like people want that instant gratification. And, you know, 2.5 years to hit a six-figure month is still amazing. But then that being said, like some people will see these numbers online or, student results that maybe even I post and they're like, okay, if I start with $1,000, can I make $1 million by next year? And it's like, well, how about you focus on learning the game, sticking to the fundamentals, and then if you build something good, then God willing, you can get to that point.
Absolutely, baby steps. I mean, just
Mhm.
even capital in the product alone, I mean, you have to build up to that to be able to maintain something like that. It's capital intensive, so it's
Mhm.
really, you wanna baby step into it. You don't wanna get too far. Someone that wants to do it that quick, they're gonna get in over their head. That's gonna be
Yeah, I 100% agree. Now, what do you think the biggest mindset shift that helped you grow to seven figures was?
this is an easy one, but a great thing. So I think coming from corporate retail, I had a position, so I was focused in on that. Let's say sourcing was my thing. I was only focused on sourcing. Someone told me, it's not about the skill, it's about the system and understanding the whole process. And I think when that mind shift happened, um, everything changed because now I'm managing everything, making sure the whole system works instead of focusing on one certain thing because it's not about that one skill. It's about everything fitting together in the whole lifeline of the product from manufacturing to customer experience. So the whole thing, and once you kind of you're able to step back and see the whole system and understand how it all works, it all just clicks. It's just a
Mhm.
whole different mindset. Um, I think that's what really changed everything. Someone told me that, and it just like clicked because I was so focused on certain things. Being a creative, I really love the making product listings or making images for that. But that's just one little thing, one little step along the way of a product lifeline. So stepping back, understanding that you're not going to be great at every single thing, outsourcing where you can, but really managing the whole process, the whole system.
Yeah, and honestly, couldn't have said it better myself. Like creating systems in business is what helps you create repeat scalability as well.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
how has the AMZ Masterclass helped you along your journey?
Man, it's been I don't even wanna I don't wanna it's amazing. So, in the beginning, we kinda touched on this. In the beginning, Amazon was just seller forums, probably Reddit posts, and just trying to find answers. But now having a community, I think that's the most value in this. Obviously, you learn how to do the things that you need to do, and you teach those skill sets. But really, in the end, and once you're going and you're getting through it, man, having this community to lean on and ask questions, and they have experience, and they can tell you how they've tackled this problem, or it's invaluable to have a community that you can reach out to and get direct answers, even to you. I see it all the time on Facebook, how there's questions on there and they're just instantly answered and they're right. And I think that's really how I found you was just going on TikTok live. Of course I had experience on Amazon, but then I was listening to the things that you're saying. I'm like, this guy knows. I can tell he knows what he's talking about because I'm living it. I was already doing it, and that was really the reason why I joined is things are always changing, always gotta grow, and always gotta learn new things that Amazon's implementing or new processes or things that they're doing. So I was ready to be in a community and be around people that are going through the same things I am. And that to me is the most invaluable part about this whole program.
Mhm. Oh yeah, I definitely appreciate you saying that. And it's funny because I've built all of these services and stuff like that for students, but that's actually one of the things that I hear very often is like one of their favorite parts. Like I did another interview with a student and he said the same thing. He was like, "Yeah, one of my favorite parts is probably the weekly coaching calls and the Facebook group." And he's used all the other services and taken advantage of that. But yeah, having that community around you is so important. And I know that like when I started selling on Amazon, my cousins were my mentors. And even though it was only three of us, n- having other people who were going through the same thing that you were was like such a big stepping stone in my journey. So I definitely understand why that's one of the students' favorite parts.
Absolutely, man. Just to have someone to talk to and that understands what you're talking about. If I go to a
Mhm.
friend and tell them specifics, they're just like, "What are you talking about, man?"
Yeah, speaking another language.
Yeah, you are literally.
Mhm. So, what's your approach to finding products today, and then has it changed since you first started?
Yes. I mean, obviously, following your criteria is amazing. It's the way to go. I think you got it down to almost a science. But for me, really, so there's two parts of this. It's my current brand and then other products going forward. I think in my current brand, it's really learning and listening to the customer. Um, they will tell you what you need to do. I know this kind of meshes with differentiation, but really listening what they say, understanding where there's opportunity, and just really letting them be your roadmap. Because also, even putting out a product, getting that feedback and being able to adjust and tweak, I guess would be a good word, is really what you need to be doing. Nothing's ever perfect. I think when finding a product, I definitely I don't try to, I guess what's a good word? I'm always open to opportunities, but also looking at everything with a filter. So, I think understanding the market, understanding the business, understanding the platform that you're selling on, and then really just learning from the group. So I don't know if that answers your question. That kind of went on a tangent.
No, yeah, for sure. And I think that that's going to be very helpful for new sellers to hear or somebody who's like looking to get into this because like you've heard me say this, the market is the market is the market. And then
Yeah.
like it doesn't necessarily matter what you think is good, but it matters what the market thinks is good. And the biggest voice that you can listen to when you're doing product research or even product development is the customers, because those are the people who are buying your product.
Oh my gosh, man. And another quote I heard, and I think I've said this before, but if you're not embarrassed by your first iteration, then you waited too long because you're trying to perfect it. Whereas you need to put it out and understand that things are going to happen and you're going to hear back feedback. And you might be going in a whole different direction than the way you need to go, but they'll help you. The customer's the North Star in a way.
Yeah, 100%. Um, Now, how do you think about differentiation now compared to when you're a beginner? Or has it really just evolved and you're still kind of on the same track with that?
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing as finding products. It's understanding that the customer, they'll speak to you. And also, I think in differentiation, it's for me, it's about customer experience. Building a brand is probably my biggest worry and strength, and it's my biggest focus. That's a good word for it because I want my customers to come back. I want them to feel good about anything that they're buying from my brand. Um, and differentiation is, as far as Amazon goes, I think that's it's all there. It's all there. Again, it's a roadmap. if you're going to launch a new product and you're doing product research, I think just reading through your competitors and their feedback or their reviews that they're getting, it's all right there. It's just you need to understand and process it. Again, don't get personal about it. Read what they're saying, understand where the opportunity is, and then boom, that's your opportunity right there.
Mhm.
I think product differentiation for me personally, again, is branding. It's the customer experience. In the end, I want them to be happy no matter what. I think that's going to really create that loyalty and that trust.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. Now, without saying a product, um,
Mhm.
what's one example where you nailed differentiation and then it paid off?
Oh, let's see. I think probably my best product that I've launched, I would say I made it different because I made it user friendly without giving away the what I did or what I make. I understand what the customer's needs were at that point and using it and living it and understanding it, and then also again taking that feedback over time. Um, I I would say it was just really this is where I wish I would have been a little more prepared. I would
No, it's all
say
good.
this is where the gap is. I'd say the biggest the question was the biggest differentiator.
Yeah, so an example where you nailed differentiation and it paid off.
Just really understanding the customer.
Mhm.
When I developed the product to be reusable is the answer because
Mhm.
that's where I found a lot of my customers were missing something. It was a one-time use thing, all my competition. So I made it reusable. That was the one. And it was so simple. I was overthinking it maybe a little too much, but then I realized that that was the opportunity.
Yeah. And I think you nailed that answer, by the way. So I was thinking about prepared or anything. Um, what changed from when you scaled from 5 figures to 7 figures? Like what needed to evolve in your business?
Uh, Again, going back to system, understanding capital, reorders, manufacturing, really learning the whole system. It's not, when you're small and you're learning and you're kind of getting into it, it's really easy. But then as you're making bigger buys, trying to get costs down, um, inventory, capital investment, all those things, really, understanding those and taking those steps into it, that changed everything. I think looking at the whole system again and capital is a big part of it because you're investing a lot in that and it's a big risk. I've taken some hard losses. I know you got some stories too, but with that, understanding that everything is just a step away. So being careful on what you're investing in, understanding the risk, and then going for it. I mean, don't be afraid. That's another thing. Don't be afraid to try because it's not a failure if you're learning something from it.
Hmm. Yeah, I 100% agree. Now, do you manage your own PPC ads right now? Are you still hands on, or do you have a team who handles it, or is it really just those systems that you've been talking about that has helped you manage?
Both. So I definitely started on my own learning PPC. It's evolved a lot. Um, I do have some automations in place, but also understanding it and checking on it. Um, so to go back to that, I guess it's a mix, it's the hybrid. I'm doing some of it, but also I'm outsourcing some of it to the point where, my time is more valuable doing other things. But then if you don't know what's going on, there's no way for you to follow up and check up on it. So it's
Mhm.
it's double-edged sword in a way, but it's great to know so that way you can catch things, but also not spending too much time on it. But PPC is that important. PPC is really important that you know it, that you understand what you're doing with it, but also, again, not spending all the time on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I do a little bit of both.
See,
Go ahead.
so personally, I manage my own PPC, and that's just because I'm so confident in what I do with PPC. But
Yeah.
I'll see people on social media who like, should I go hire somebody on Fiverr to manage my PPC? And then they don't know anything about it. So like literally somebody could tell them like, yep, PPC is going great, but they're like losing money on it. So like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's important to understand SEO, for example, but it's okay to outsource somebody to create your listing. But you need to understand so you know what you're getting. And then the same thing goes for your ads.
Right. Because ultimately you're responsible for it.
Hmm.
And if you can't recognize what they're doing, you can't blame them. They're doing what you hired them to do. But if you're not able to follow up and see what's going on, you're just throwing money away. PPCs can be a huge benefit or disadvantage because if you're just throwing money at it, you're losing your margins. But if you do it right, obviously you're gonna succeed. So
Yeah, 100%. What role has branding played in helping you have sustainable long-term growth?
it's everything. Really, it's to have brand loyalty and to stand behind it. I think customers want to hear that story. There's a reason why they have brand story on your A plus, because when a customer can understand how it's made. There's so many different things that I've heard people say along the way, but really it's just the more you can relate to a customer and a customer can see you and see what you're doing, the more they're invested in it, the more they want to help you, the more that they see themselves using it. So it's branding is everything that it's that last hurdle to go from someone viewing your product to someone buying your product. And I think that's really, and then you're going to create the loyalty, you're going to create the trust, and they're going to come back. And also word of mouth, they're going to tell their friends about it. They're not going to tell them about a certain product, they're going to tell them about your brand. And that's invaluable. I mean, that's what we're getting business for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Now, have you diversified to other marketplaces or just stay focused on Amazon?
Of course, you want to, diversify all over the place. Nothing compares to Amazon as far as volume goes. Um, even when, even when TikTok got really big, they didn't come close, and most of my customers went to Amazon to find my product. So I think the benefit of Amazon also is they have that built-in trust of customer service. Everyone pretty much has an Amazon account. You get to see the reviews. They've created a marketplace that's almost unbeatable, but it's always good to diversify because you're going to get searched other places, but it doesn't do the volume. I haven't found anything yet, but
And I've touched on before, like being omnipresent, meaning like having your brand be everywhere. And what you said was like one of the big reasons. Like people, let's say you have a Shopify store, TikTok shop, people will see your product there and go look for it on Amazon.
right. Because if it's not on Amazon, it's almost like you don't exist. They're like, "Why are you?"
Yeah.
For real, because and I've done that too, is I'll see something that I think is really interesting, say it's on Facebook or something, and if it's not on Amazon, I'm like, "So is it either like a shady product or what's going on?" Because if you're not out on Amazon, what are you afraid of? Like, there's gotta be something behind it. Maybe the reviews aren't holding up or something, but yeah, it almost basically puts you on the map. It legitifies your brand.
I've probably seen like 6 products that I've been interested in on TikTok Shop this year. Every single one of them I bought on Amazon.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, what's one mistake that cost you a lot, and then what did you learn from it?
Oh man, this is the product that I manufacture myself. the biggest mistake was not product testing beforehand. Actually got ahead of myself, produced a bunch of product. Interesting enough, I start seeing some reviews, and Amazon will flag you if you get if you get like consistent negative reviews, or like so many within a certain amount of time. I forget what it is, but I noticed that, and I didn't understand what was going on. Went ahead and I adjusted the product a little bit, definitely for the better, but there was a process of testing that I didn't implement at this time. I didn't even know it was a problem until,
Mm.
again, customers were calling it out. And when I went to test it, it was huge. It was a huge loss. I had to destroy a lot of units, but it was really for the integrity of the brand. I didn't want to lose that trust. I could have tried to sell these units and hope that they worked, but knowing that there was a flaw in it, um, it was a lot. It was a lesson that, I took ownership of. I'm not putting it on the factory or anything, because, there needed to be SOPs in place that I didn't understand, I didn't know about, I didn't even know was a problem that could have happened. But really, so to wrap that all up, it was, I didn't test the product. I didn't really look at every little thing and make sure before I put it out that it was top tier, ready to go. I just assumed that it was going to work.
I think an underlying message in what we've talked about so far is definitely like listen to your customer.
Hmm.
Go look through the market for what they want, and then carry that over to what you're launching. That's one of the things that I've been hearing, and I think that's really solid advice for somebody who's either getting ready to develop a product or thinking about starting Amazon. So yeah, I hope a lot of people take some good insight from that.
And I want to add on to that too, because sometimes it's easy to like give to your friends, or like, coming from an industrial design background, my professor always said this, people are always going to tell you the good things. It's hard for them to tell you the bad things, but then also in the end, they might say, yeah, it's great, I would buy it, but would they really? Like, would they put their
Mhm.
dollar behind it? That is a whole different story. So to find customers that will give you feedback is invaluable. Like,
Mhm.
someone that has put their money that you don't know behind your product and then giving you feedback, listen to them, because they mean it. Good or bad, like, they mean it. That's what's hard to find. So friends and family, you'll kind of get an idea, and maybe they'll find some high level things that are super obvious, but like, it's not until you get a customer that's living that product, using that product, put their money on that product, that you're gonna get the real bread and butter from that.
100% agree. Yeah. Sometimes if you just rely on friends and family, you might be in a bit of an echo chamber.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, what's something that you used to believe about Amazon that turned out to be wrong?
Ooh, it's a great question. I would say it's not as, I don't want to scare people away, but it's not as easy as people, or as it seems. And I don't, again, I'm not doing this to scare people, but there's processes, and everything is for a reason. Let's just say that. And looking at, stepping back, it seems like everything's there for you and it's easy, but it's not. It's really, you need to take the time, understand your business. You need to know your numbers. You need to be able to grow and have patience. I think that's the thing that I learned the most, was it takes time. Just even getting reviews, and not launching PPC until you get so many reviews, and understanding why that is. So I think it's you're learning a true business. Amazon is there to support you, but you do have to take the time to learn. It's not something that you can just point and click and everything's automated for you. You need to learn and understand what you're doing, and you can lose a lot of money just throwing it away on marketing and not understanding what you're doing. So I think I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yeah, 100%. And I'm
yeah,
glad that you said that, because I don't think that it scares people, but I think it's setting proper expectations. Because one of my biggest gripes with, like, and it's not everybody, don't get me wrong, but with a lot of content on the internet, is they make it seem like it's some get rich quick scheme. But
you're
like
right.
building anything worth it is not going to be quick. Fast money
Right.
in means you could lose the money fast. So
Exactly.
and I think that's actually where a lot of these questions that I'll get on social media stem from. Like, if I invest $1,000, can I make $1 million in a year? It's like, mm, how about you focus on the fundamentals and building like those systems, like you've talked about, and then when you build something good, then the money will follow.
Right. You're not asking how much anymore. You're thinking like a business person, whereas when they're asking those questions, they're just like you said, quick money in, quick money out. It's not the
Mhm.
way to look at it. They're not looking at it in the right frame.
For sure. What's one thing that you think that new sellers overcomplicate nowadays?
Oh, they're afraid to just launch. Like they really over yeah, I think again, it's you're not gonna learn until you do it. That's
Mhm.
all I can say. Like you there's only one way to really learn, and that's to do it. And you can take L's as losses, or you can turn them into lessons. It's one of
Yeah.
two ways. It's your mindset, it's how you're gonna do it. But I'll tell you what, when you take a real loss and you turn it into a lesson, you'll never take that loss again because you've learned it. You've
Mhm.
actually put monetary or time behind it. It'll stick. It sticks versus someone just telling you don't do this is one thing. But if you've gone through it and you've lived that, you're not going to do that again. So, and I think that goes in line with how you always preach, don't launch multiple products at once because every mistake you make is going to be times however many products.
Mhm.
Learn all those mistakes off this one product, get the system right, and then rinse and repeat. Don't get ahead of yourself.
Two things with that, thoughts that come to mind. Number one, like, are you gonna learn how to ride a bike from reading about how to ride a bike, or by actually getting on the bike and trying?
Yep.
And and then the second thing is, a lot of the systems and criteria that I use nowadays in my business came from those failures or those obstacles that I encountered. And I'm sure it's the same thing for you. That's what makes you a better entrepreneur.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
And be able to look at them and understand that it's just a speed bump, man. You got to get through it. You'll get through it and not make it bigger than it is.
Yeah. So, do you think that the opportunity on Amazon is still as strong as when you started?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I think it's obviously it's a different market with a lot of sellers, but oh yeah, I think it's even more. The Amazon wants you to succeed. There's tools out there. There's programs like this one that will help you get there. I think I think it's easier to succeed now than it used to be.
Mhm. Yeah, the game has definitely evolved, and people are, some people will be like, "It's too saturated nowadays." No, it's not. There's millions of products that you can
That's
go
their
on.
resistance. That's their
Yeah.
resistance that they've put in their head, man. That's all. Telling
But yeah,
themselves that.
I know that, because you started in 2017, I started in 2019. Um, there's more information today, and a lot of that information might not be the best, but there is, even in the small percentage of good information, that's more than we had when we started.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
They give us tools. They want you to succeed because they're
Yeah.
making money off of you. So
Mhm.
it's not, if anything, you've become your own barrier.
Yeah. Amazon actually makes more money when somebody becomes successful like you and I than somebody who started
Right.
once, failed, maybe they spent a bit of money on ads and then they don't sell anymore. Like, that's not as much money for Amazon. They want you to win.
right, because then of course, it's just gonna keep going and growing.
Mm-hmm. Now, I feel like I know the answer to this one potentially, but how do you stay ahead of your competition in your niche?
Always innovating. I think that's, for me, something that's in my nature. That's what studied in college, is just always innovating, always be a step ahead, um, taking that feedback in, understanding where the opportunity is, and staying ahead. I've been copied before, to a T, actually, um, but just understanding that that's gonna happen, one, and you just need to stay ahead of it. You grow, you're always developing the next product. What can complement that product, or how do you adapt? How do you make it better? Make the next version, but always adapting. I think that's something that you always have to do. You can't get complete. You cannot get comfortable in what you're doing, because it's going to catch up with you. And that's for anything. And you know this too. Like, they're always coming for your ranking in that category. So it's just a matter of time. Really evolving, and just understanding that everything, you know, growing with your product, growing and making it better.
Mm-hmm. I actually had somebody come into one of my lives and they shared their product, so I'll share it here again, but they were the number one bestseller for a dog hair remover. They had
I,
192,000
I was
reviews.
in that. I was in that live.
Yeah,
Yes, that
yeah.
was nuts.
And I remember asking him, I was like, "So what and he's been selling, I think, for 10 years or something like that on Amazon. I asked him, like, what has helped you stay in that number one spot? And he said exactly what you did. It was always innovating, always not being complacent, whether that was his listing, whether that was listening to the customer feedback and improving on the product and making different versions of it. And he has the number one bestseller for that product. And 192,000 reviews is insane.
That is,
Yeah.
man, that's gold right there. That's just gold. He's
Mhm.
just sitting on gold. Because
Yeah.
anybody that sees that, they're instantly going to buy it, just on
Yeah,
trust right there.
for sure. So, how has becoming a seven-figure seller changed your life, whether that's financially or personally?
Obviously, I think really ultimately it's just freedom, but with that freedom comes responsibility. Um, I think it's changing your mindset a little bit. And I hear you say it all the time. It doesn't change you as a person, it just amplifies who you are. Well,
Mhm,
also just having to be a lot more responsible, because you understand that, a little tweak here, a little tweak there can really change things. So I think financially, it's bringing a lot of freedom, but also the responsibility is there. So, I mean, it, it's something that we all strive for, but it doesn't change you as a person. It just
mhm,
changes, it just adds more, and then you're able to do more in life. Um, but for me, ultimately about experience in life and just finding peace.
mhm. Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was being able to support the people who supported me when I had nothing, and that freedom. And I liked what you said. I think that some people think that somebody in like your position or my position is just going to be like sitting on a beach with a coconut all day, every day. Um, but it obviously takes time and work and effort to build this, and it becomes a game that you really love and enjoy to play. And,
Yeah,
it's not that you're not grateful or, but it's not even that you're not satisfied, but you always want to see growth, right?
right.
And you don't do that by just being complacent in life.
Right. And the minute you're not hungry, you're not growing anymore. And I think that's something else. There's never really an end to the numbers. It's really just understanding, you know, staying hungry, because being complacent is just going to kill you eventually. So
Mhm.
uh, I don't really look at the money numbers anymore. It's more about just growing and making sure that I'm always adapting and always staying on top of things and always looking at, what are the customers saying? How are my products doing? And it is the journey. The journey is what it's all about. I think Gary Vee says it the best, don't look at the finish line, love the journey, love the process, because once you do, I don't even need a finish line. I love growing. I love being in this process because that's the joy of it, these little losses and then turning them into lessons. Like it's one of the best feelings.
Yeah, and I've had people ask me like, what's enough money for you to retire? I was like, oh, you don't get it. It's not about the money. I just love the
Right.
game.
Right. It's like you're
Hmm.
and I think that's probably one of the biggest things too, is like if you can't love this game and love this struggle and this fight, and you're not in the right. You don't need to be an entrepreneur because you're not gonna get through it. The struggle's gonna get you and you're gonna get burnt out eventually.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So, final question for your brother. If you could give one piece of advice to every new Amazon seller watching this, what would it be?
Don't chase trends, one, chase truth. And just solve problems. I think that as a product designer is gonna make you successful. If your product solves a problem, and if you're able to solve problems, I think you're gonna be successful. Yeah, simple as that.
I love it. Joshua, you're an absolute gem, brother. I think people got a lot of value from this interview, all of the insights that you've shared, your own journey, and you're absolutely crushing it on Amazon, bro. And I just with your mindset, what I've seen from you so far, I know that you're going to be blessed with a lot more success to come, man. So I really do appreciate your time.
I appreciate you, man, and I just wanna say to those out there, man, like, welcome. This is a good community. Luke's got a great, great system and program, and I appreciate you, man. Being able to find this community is really put such a huge, like, it's amazing to find other people and being able to talk to them about these things, and the community is everything. So I back to you, man. I really appreciate you and how much time and effort you put out there answering questions on lives and helping people really get into this because it's a great opportunity.
I appreciate that, bro, and I appreciate you trusting me for your Amazon FBA journey and letting me come along the ride with you.
Oh man, same here, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you again, and I hope you have a blessed day, brother.
You too, man. God bless.
Massive respect to Joshua for coming on and sharing so many golden insights. I think this interview shows what's possible when you stick to the fundamentals and continue to improve every single day. Now, if you want to learn the exact systems that students like him use to build their Amazon brands, check out the AMZ Masterclass linked in the description of this video, where you have the exact strategies that I use to start, launch, and scale my Amazon business, direct access to me as your mentor along your entire journey, a one-on-one call with me, weekly group coaching calls, product selection where I'll select your product for you, and all of the services that I've built for my students. Like our in-house contracted freight forwarder where on average students save 30 to 50% on shipping, our listing creation service, sourcing service, inspection service, and so much more. If you've ever been interested in learning how to sell on Amazon or want to learn how to take your existing Amazon brand to the next level, the AMZ Masterclass is for you. But on that note, don't forget to like and comment on this video. It really helps out the channel a lot. And subscribe because I'm on the road to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. And as always, have a blessed day, ladies and gentlemen.